of the sabiki rig. But at the other end, you're going to have flash freeze the fish. You're not going to find them in Academy or Walmart. Skips are in here. I got one here on the sabiki rig, nice size one there. We'll take it. Really worth the investment if you're going to catch a lot of skipjack. Hey guys, Bump here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to catch skipjack using sabiki rigs. Sabiki rigs are great for catching skipjack herring, and of course, skipjack are really awesome catfish bait. A lot of people call them catfish candy. If you're an avid catfisherman, you know how well or how good of a bait skipjack are for catfish. So we're going to head down today to the Falls of Ohio and try a couple different spots and using sabiki rigs to catch skipjack. Let's go. So I'm catching skipjack to freeze. I'll take a small 5-gallon bucket or a small cooler, and I'll make a saltwater brine solution that I'll take down with me. So generally I'm going to be bank fishing. I don't own a boat. So with a 5-gallon bucket, 3 gallons of ice, 3 1-gallon Ziploc bags is going to be the perfect amount to lug in and out of wherever you're going to fish to. Some of the spots I fish, they're a little further of a walk, so you don't want to really carry a whole lot in, but the 5-gallon bucket with 3 gallons of ice is a manageable amount. So again, you're not going to put water in it until you start catching fish. You catch that first fish, you set it down and go ahead and add the water to create the slurry, because you really only want to carry it out when it's full at the end of the trip. So that ice water brine solution is going to be super cooled. It's going to serve to flash freeze the fish. So you're instantly gonna start cooling down that fish's body temperature to prevent the decomposition of the fish. Again, we're intending to freeze these fish for storage for later use. So we want to get that process started sooner than later, so we can decrease the decomp on the fish, so it serves as a better bait for a long time. When the fish are flash frozen, they can last several months. You come back and use those same fish months later for bait. So sabiki rigs can sometimes be hard to find around here. I know some of the local tackle shops have them, but you're not going to find them in Academy or Walmart. I use them quite a bit for pier fishing and saltwater. So I just tend to order them online, so I've got them readily available. So this last time I bought this 22 pack from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. So you get a lot of different colors and sizes. So a lot of times the skipjack, they may be preferring a certain color or a certain size. So they give you a wide variety. If other guys are out there fishing, they seem to be catching them and you're not, you can switch over. Again, this is a 22 pack variety that you can get for next to nothing on Amazon. I'll put a link to that in the description below. But sabiki rigs are definitely the way to go when it comes to skipjack. You can catch 2 or 3 at a time, a lot of times, so you can really fill up a cooler fast with sabiki rigs. So your sabiki rigs are going to come with, on one end you're going to have a barrel swivel. Again, you're going to tie that to your main line, and then at the very bottom you have a series of 5 or 6 baits, depending on the size of the sabiki rig. But at the other end you're going to have a little clip. So there you'll use that to clip on a weight, because sabiki rig by itself is of course very light, so you're not going to be able to throw it. So you want to add weight, so you just clip on using the clip provided at the bottom. Sometimes what I'll do is I actually put a jig head on there and put a little grub as well, so kind of have a little different size presentation and get an extra hook out there. So maybe it'll clue you into, if you have a bigger grub than what you're fishing on the sabiki, it might clue you into they're actually going after some larger prey. So here at the upper spillway, today they're running 11 foot of dam to upper sight. Get in here and see how we do. So skipjack love the highly oxygenated water you're going to find in dams. Dams are usually going to be the best place to catch skipjack. You'll usually find them just on the outside of where the current and the white water is. A little current seam. They'll kind of lay back in the slack water and ambush anything coming through. Yeah, they love the oxygenated water. Skipjack fishing, sometimes you're going to make 100 casts and only catch a few, and other times they're they're hitting nice and heavy, and you know, you'll cast 10 times and catch 10 fish, but you know, they're either in there or they're not, or they're either feeding or they're not. So just kind of stick with it, keep the line in the water, and when they're there, they'll hit. Fishing for skipjack, especially here where it's really rocky, but just in general, you want to reel really fast, keeping the sabiki rig towards the top of the water. Skipjack, you know, a lot of times you can tell how a fish feeds by where their eyes are located on their body. And skipjack, of course, their eyes are at the top of their head, which generally means they're going to be down in the water column, feeding on prey up above. So you want to keep that, you keep your sabiki rig towards the top, fish it really fast and hard. If you're fishing a deeper body of water and you don't have a lot of structure, then you might be able to do a little slow jig. Again, you know, if you're in an area where you're not worried about getting hung up and not worried about losing your rig, but for the most part, you're going to be keeping it just at the top of the water. Fish that sabiki rig lightly across the top. Again, fast is generally going to produce more fish. So I haven't seen any skipjack moving through today. You know, usually you can see them when they're feeding. They'll jump out of the water. You'll see them in little, you know, groups of 5, 10, or whatever, jumping out at the same time. Haven't seen any of that today, so may not be the spot to find them today. I'll try another couple spots here this morning, and I'm sure we'll get on them. So I'm here at the Hydros. First class a second ago, just had skipjack on right here where the eddy comes in. You get slack, and got off right at the shore, so hopefully it's a good sign of things to come. Can't complain when you lose a fish, especially when it's the first cast. You know you're in the right place, right time, and you know they're in here, so we'll keep going. So this is the sabiki rig I'm using here, so it's a little larger presentation. Hopefully catch some of the bigger skipjack. So it's a pretty good sized sabiki. Skips are in here. I got one here on the sabiki rig. Nice size one there. We'll take it. Hopefully fill up cooler today. So I've been using this sabiki. The skips are in there. They're jumping around. They're definitely feeding. Another good one. Nice big one here. There we go. That one did not feel like a skipjack. So can catch other fish on the sabiki rig, and that was not a skipjack. Fortunately came off right at the bank. But before freezing our skipjack, we're going to go ahead and vacuum seal them to preserve them, so we'll be ready next time we're ready to go fishing. So skipjack are pretty large. I actually purchased these 11 by 16 100-gallon bags. I'll put a link down below in the description from Amazon where you can pick these guys up. 100 bags, the 1 gallon size, 11 by 16 on Amazon for really cheap. Again, look down below in the description. I'll put a link to that on Amazon. And then also put a link to these vacuum sealers. You can get them super cheap on Amazon. There's quite a few different options out there. You know, some of the more expensive, you know, food savers are going to cost $80 plus. You can get them for less than half of that on Amazon and do just as good a job. So before we vacuum seal our skipjack, we want to remove all the water. I got an old towel here. I'm gonna just dry these guys off first with the old heavy towel and get the majority of the water off. We'll follow up with some paper towels to get the rest of the excess moisture off. So I'm gonna follow up with a paper towel and remove all the excess moisture. Try to get all the, check around the gills. There's usually a lot of water come out of the gills there, so you want to get all that excess water out of the gill area. Alright, so as I mentioned before, the skipjack are pretty big fish, so we're using these big 1 gallon bags. Again, these are the size 16 by 11. Put a link to that down below in the description, but you just want to bag them up however many you want. You know, you can put 5, 6 in here, you know, just 2 or 3 if you're going to make a smaller trip. So I like to put them different size quantities. All right, now to use the vacuum sealer, you just line the bag up here and then press down firmly on the ends and simply hit the vacuum and seal. It does it in about 10 seconds, so it's vacuuming all the air out right now. Now it's sealing it, and the red light will go off when it's done. There we go. So again, you can get everything you need here in this setup for really cheap. It's really going to be worth it in the long run if you're an avid cat fisherman and you like catching skipjack.
Big boy, yeah boy!
Put them different size quantities so we can vary it up. And a snag. Not what I needed. Nice big one here. Ah.